Hello and welcome to another edition of The Week That Was, a weekly program where we catch up with the headlines of the past week. This week we review the week from 14th to 19th July, and to discuss these and other stories, I have with me the group editor of Herald Publications, Mr. Sujay Gupta.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So as usual, we have a packed week. In this week, we have seen a lot of news doing the headlines. And we have this issue about the change of names. We have the Goa Assembly taking off for the budget session this week, where comparisons have been made between the Kala Academy and Taj Mahal. Also, there is the echo of this linear projects in the Goa Assembly. Besides this, outside the Assembly, we have a youth being beaten up for traffic violations. And we also have some good news for activists, wherein the Nauxi Marina has now, the idea of the marina has been given up by the Mormugaon Port Authority.
Correct.
So we begin with 14 July Thursday, where Herald carries this news, want a Goan name, go to the court first.
Yeah, see, this is not a new issue. Incidentally, if you recall, in 2019, a PIL was first filed to prevent these kind of rampant changes. Interestingly, the person who filed the PIL, the lawyer in that PIL, was none other than Carlos Ferreira. So he went to court against this issue, this menace, so to speak. And interestingly, he happens to be an MLA now. So he has addressed this issue both as a lawyer in the judiciary and as well as in the legislature. That's that aside. See, this whole issue of people taking Goan names and then using it for government schemes and benefits, also using it to acquire Portuguese passports, has been going on for quite some time. And it would not be amiss to say that there are different agencies promising Portuguese passports. Some fake ones. I'm not talking of the reputed ones, who actually make a big business out of this. And that is something that needs to be checked. If you recall, even the government of Portugal is aware of something fishy going on. They have even from time to time sent teams to investigate this thoroughly. So this racket has been going on. And one typical way in this modus operandi in this is that there are people who keep track of a lot of Goans who've kind of passed away and not really changed their or not really acquired their Portuguese passports, or in the sense that these are each name is a treasure actually.
It's a very meticulous study.
It's a very meticulous study, and this whole list of deaths of people who are dead and gone, but their names mean much more than their personalities and their lives. So because there's a racket in these names. So often what happens, if you see this person is dead, and obviously dead men tell no tales, nor do dead women. But so you pick up these names and then you offer these names to a Patel or anybody else, any other surname, could be Patel or a Gupta or a Naik or anybody for that matter. And then they come and they get their names changed. You'll see so many cases here, and I'm not talking of people or women who get married and change their names. I'm not talking of those cases. But in many cases, you have people coming in from different parts of the country, and suddenly you will see notifications in our own Herald also saying so and so Zainusa Khan will be known as whatever Maria Menezes from tomorrow, stuff like this. So these are these kind of name change things happen galore. Often what you do is when you change this and you change into a Goan name, change your name into a Goan name, and more often than not the name changes the Catholic name. It changes to a Catholic name.
So now the cabinet has decided they will bring in a legislation and one will have to go to the court. Earlier it was done by a Mamladar.
The registrars used to do it earlier. Yeah, mainly the registry was enough to do it.
Which was much easier to do.
All it needed was an affidavit. An affidavit is easy. You just give an affidavit and your name changed. But now that has changed. Now you have to go and different courts. The district court and the lower courts. The lower courts and the district courts will both have jurisdiction over these cases. They will do it. And I think it's high time this is done, because this racket is getting from bad to worse.
So do you think this will have any linkages to the property grabbing that Herald is following?
Well, property grabbing is so blatant that the point is it doesn't matter who you are. They are grabbing it from Goans. See, here what is happening is they are grabbing it from Goans. So, and the property grabbers also more often than not are Goans. So here the name is not the problem. Here the issue is that you have dead people and who are dead and gone. These property grabbers come, use the names of the dead people, make them alive, create documents in their name and get a power of attorney done from the dead person to the grabber. So this I think is a little different, because here the names are changed only to manipulate the papers.
Okay.
But this particular name change can be two things. One is to get government schemes.
Yeah.
To show that you can do it without being a domicile for 15 years. You can prove that you have a Goan name.
Yeah.
And when you have a Goan name, people don't even check for domicile.
Okay.
That's why. So,
okay.
Plus Portuguese passports. That's another big.
Yeah. Okay. 15th July, Friday, Herald has a story with regard to the House being adjourned. Already curtailed House loses precious time due to NDA presidential candidate canvassing trip. Now, this happened on Thursday,
yes,
wherein the presidential candidate of the NDA came to Goa, and this time was allotted. The House was adjourned so that MLAs could go and meet her.
Yes, I see. The thing is, as a practice, this doesn't feel right or doesn't sound right, because what happens is we must agree that the respected Draupadi Murmu is the presidential candidate. She is not yet the president.
Yeah.
So the thing is, of course, her presence was important for the party. She has every right to come and canvass. But I feel the schedule should have been in such a way, it could have been done early morning before the House starts, because the House doesn't start too early either.
Yeah.
So it could have been done in such a way that they finished with this meeting and then they could have come to the House. Yeah. Or this meeting could have been after the House ended for the day. They could have planned this meeting in such a way.
Yeah.
But when you do it in the middle of the day and the House has to be adjourned for about 1 hour for a business which is strictly not linked to the House business.
Yeah.
It's an external, I would say, semi-political business.
Yeah.
And even though a couple of hours was lost, but I think even a couple of hours is extremely precious, because there are so many issues that need to be discussed in the House, which have incidentally not been discussed. There are so many matters that are still pending. In any case, it's a 10-day session.
And the business is also curtailed by 2 weeks.
And the business is curtailed for 2 weeks. So
yeah.
I think it's something that the lawmakers, or especially the ruling party, should have understood and should have kind of exercised a little more sensitivity in these matters, because matters of the House should get priority over everything else.
Okay. Now, in the same edition of Herald, we have a very interesting piece, which is actually not a news, but it was the subject of many memes, and this is what happened in the Goa Assembly, where the title of the article reads, Kala Academy is Shah Jahan Gaude's labor of love for Goa. That was
basically a satire piece that we wrote. And I think, Govind Gaude wouldn't have asked for this, and I don't think he would have expected that comment would throw up so much of mirth and memes and laughter all over.
Yeah.
Without meaning any disrespect to him, but when you say that you did not invite tenders for the Kala Academy renovation project, because Shah Jahan did not invite tenders in the year 1600 and so on and so forth to build the Taj Mahal, it is laughable and amusing. And I think also what happens is it trivializes the debate to a large extent.
Yeah.
Because when you say this in the House that I did not do it because even Shah Jahan didn't, obviously that is not true. I mean he needs to come up with a tangible explanation as to why the tendering was not done for the renovation of Kala Academy.
And as a minister, and the PWD minister has said this, that the CPWD manual mandates
of course,
that even for specialized work you have to invite tenders.
No, you can't get away from it. I mean, and also if we for a moment even indulge Govind Gaude and say that okay, you compare this with what happened during Shah Jahan's time, but during Shah Jahan's time there were no L1, L2, there was no tendering process anyway. Where was the PWD? And also, let us look at it this way. Shah Jahan was the emperor, okay? And he was doing it with his own money.
Yeah.
Okay, he was not doing it with public money. He was doing it with his own money, okay? Yeah. And here you are ultimately spending taxpayers' money and you are answerable to the taxpayers. You are not an emperor.
Then on 16 July, Saturday, headline in the Herald with regard to goings on in the House, the government fails to give assurances on scrapping of linear projects. And the opposition has targeted the government over this, and there was a private members resolution which was passed. And there was no division of votes. They had asked for division of votes and this was not allowed.
But was the resolution passed at all?
No, the resolution was not
passed. Correct. Yeah. See, the thing is, again, they should have had a division of votes, because division of votes would have completely exposed who the MLAs were in favor of resolution and who were not. Because we would have loved to know. We would have loved to know the position of Ullas Tuekar of Navili, Reginald Lorenzo of Kurturi, Antonio Vaz of Kortali, then even this guy, what's his name? Even Alice Sikher had to. We need to know what his position was. The Nuve MLA. So we wanted to know what Daji Salkar's view would have been, because Daji Salkar is in Vasco and that area is completely involved in this. So except Alton de Costa and Vijay Sardesai, who raised this private, the private members bill and asked for the resolution, I don't think anybody else spoke vehemently. I don't think even Digambar Kamat came out and spoke on this issue. So, and we also remember those days when the agitations were going on, people were gathering at different railway tracks and speaking. Many of these MLAs, I'm not talking of the BJP and the BJP supporting MLAs, but even some of the Congress MLAs and opposition MLAs were doing it. One would have expected even, say, Venzi of AAP and Cruz of AAP to also come out and be a little more vocal about it. So the idea is that, it's very important for MLAs cutting across party lines to show solidarity with the resolution to scrap linear projects. When they don't do it, we obviously understand it's ruling party politics which is being seen to be a greater priority than people's interests.
Then on Saturday itself, that is July 16th, there is another shocking item of departmental carelessness. A Jaipur tourist electrocuted at Kolwa beach, where the live wire was not removed even 24 hours later. And this is all caught up in bureaucratic wrangles by saying that, this project has not been, the GTDC has not handed over this beautification project to the electricity department, and therefore all these things could not be done.
See, this is all part of another project called the Kolwa Beautification Project. We have called it the Kolwa Uglification Project, because ultimately instead of beautifying it, Kolwa is becoming uglier and uglier. Because this project is not being done in the manner that it should be doing. In fact, Herald TV itself, we reported a couple of weeks ago, where in that same Kolwa stretch, you had one gazebo and you had these decorative electric lights which were constructed in such a precarious manner that they actually fell off the hinges onto the beach and tourists could have got injured there. So there are so many issues. These electrical lines, these wires, have been lying there unattended for such a long time. My point is, and then these are not dead wires. There's power flowing through most of them. And this was bound to happen. And we had warned that if you don't clear up these wires, if you don't clean up then the chances of accidents for tourists could happen. And that's exactly what happened. And by the way, what is more shocking is after this, we are talking of this story. After this story happened and that person died, the Jaipur tourist died, got electrocuted, they have still not removed the wires. Even now they've not. So even a death is not enough for them to move.
Okay. On Sunday, July the 17th, this is part of the politics that Goa is known for. Congress has shifted 5 MLAs to an unknown destination before the presidential polls. And there were 5 of them who were there out of station, and 5 are supposed to be
5 out, 5 in. There were 5
not part of the gang.
There were 5 out, 6 in. So total 11. See, again, while everybody is saying that this whole defection issue was a storm in the teacup, it is not a storm in the teacup. I call it a simmering volcano. It is not a storm in the teacup. The issue is the Congress MLAs have not shifted because they've suddenly become loyal congressmen. They have not shifted because a lot of understandings were going on, those discussions have still not come to a fruition. Let's accept it. I'm not saying everybody is going, but it will be absolutely naive to think that nobody from the Congress is interested in moving. Let's accept this. My point, even a small child will know that there are backroom discussions going on for these Congress guys, some of these Congress people to move. So having said that, the issue is it's now a question of who gets what, and they need to get that magic figure of 8 to beat the anti-defection law.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get 8, then you need to resign and contest by elections. It's as simple as that. However, the only reason why this may not happen, and the Congress will again function unitedly, supposedly unitedly, is because even within the BJP, there is a lot of opposition into suddenly giving ministerial posts to these people. Because where are the ministerial posts?
Yeah.
Because BJP ministers will have to resign to make way for these people.
Yeah.
So that's not happening. So the issue is, there is no question of anybody being loyal or not loyal. It's simply the fact that certain arrangements and deals and understandings have not been finalized.
Now, in the next day's paper, that is July 18th, on Monday, we have a related news referring to one of the senior congressmen and ex-chief minister, Mr. Digambar Kamat, where he looks to be marooned in this fight.
Yes,
I don't know what is the status of Michael Lobo, but beginning of the end with Congress, Digambar removed as a permanent invitee to the CWC.
That is a strong signal. It effectively doesn't mean much, but in terms of messaging, it is a very important message, because the Congress Working Committee is the highest decision-making body of the AICC.
Yeah.
No decision takes place without the CWC's approval, be it major policy decisions, party decisions, finalizing of party candidates for the Lok Sabha and the Assembly. Even when you need to choose a chief minister of the state, the CWC meets and decides. So, when you are a permanent invitee to the CWC, it is a position of great standing given to senior and very important leaders. For instance, Luisín Falero was an invitee to the CWC for a long time.
Yeah.
Till he resigned from the Congress, he was always a invitee to the CWC. And remember, Digambar Kamat was given this position barely 2 months ago.
Yeah.
When he did not get the leader of the opposition, as a consolation prize, this was given to him.
Yeah.
Now, even the consolation prize has been taken away from him, which obviously means his relationship with the Gandhis has reached its lowest at this point.
Then going back a little, just 17th of July, Sunday, there is, the second front page of the Herald has this story with regard to the unprovoked assault on a youth for traffic violation, and he is the son of a leading photojournalist.
Yes.
Now this refers to a name which is familiar to many Goans, and now that person is a DYSP, Nerlon Albuquerque. And in this, the police have been very proactive. They have overtaken the vehicle, what you see barely in movies, overtaken the vehicle, blocked him, and taken him out and just thrashed him.
Okay, so now see, the young boy, his name is Siddhant Rahul. Okay, Siddhant Rahul was crossing that the junction just after Damian de Goa at 11:25 p.m. on that night. Okay, the exact spot where this happened was in front of that First Cry showroom after Damian de Goa. It was raining. The red lights and also the signal in that junction is quite weak. The red lights were a little dim and was raining very heavily, and the road was empty. Siddhant Rahul crossed the signal.
Yeah.
Admittedly, technically it is a mistake.
Yeah.
Raining very heavily, but you do it when the road is completely empty and you can't see the signal, you do it. From the back, now, okay, again, just a caveat. This is as per the complaint written by Siddhant Rahul. So we'll go by that.
Yeah.
A car came from the back, a police car, overtook him, blocked him, came out. The policeman, according to the complainant, started thrashing him, made him stand out in the rain while they went in the car and said, again, we are only talking about the version of the boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they go to the police station, Porvorim police station, to lodge a complaint. According to him, in the Porvorim police station, this police person arrives at the police station. Though he happens to be the DYSP of the anti-narcotics, he wouldn't have any reason to come to the Porvorim police station at that point of time.
Yeah.
According to the boy, and if you put two and two together, it seems that he came there to inquire as to whether a complaint was being filed or not, and if he could do something to stop it. This is what the boys feel.
Yeah.
The police there are strangely saying that Nerlon Albuquerque did not come there at all. Now, how did the boy know his name was Nerlon Albuquerque? Because he saw his name tag on his uniform.
Yeah.
Nerlon Albuquerque has not confirmed any of this. He has in fact denied. He said, I was present at the spot, but will I be foolish to beat somebody in this kind of a manner?
Yeah.
Now, what stops the Porvorim police from taking the complaint and at least registering it and starting the investigation?
Yeah.
All you need to do is check your CCTV footage and see if Nerlon was there or not.
Yeah.
Also, ideally in that particular junction, there should have been a CCTV in that junction.
Yeah.
Has that footage been acquired? So will they do it, or whether will they go slow? Anyway, the family has apparently met the chief minister and or is about to meet and find out. But whatever said and done, if all the facts are true in this particular case, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be true, because why would a young man decide to, even after 4 days, decide to pursue a matter like this, unless there's a semblance of truth. But anyway, let the investigations decide, let the police decide. Let's not jump to conclusions. But this kind of a public thrashing for crossing the light doesn't seem proper. It is not acceptable at all. And I think the traffic police also should kind of do its job properly, especially after a circular being issued by none other than the DGP saying that you need to be sensitive to commuters. And only certain authorized people are allowed to check documents and so on and so forth. Anybody can't just stop a car and start asking for documents or harassing people.
Tuesday, July 19, the day we are shooting this episode, Herald continues with the stories with regard to land grabbing called the Great Goan Land Grab. In this, you have some other innovative ways of grabbing property. In this, Herald story has 2 dead sisters are brought to life, shown as husband and wife, and property moved in land grabber's name.
This was a story we did yesterday. Again, it's part of a very interesting saga, almost like a soap opera of land grab. In this particular case, as we wrote, there's 2 sisters. One who died in 62, if I'm not mistaken.
1962.
Yeah, one died in 62. Then the other died in the
1984.
Yeah, the 2 sisters died around that time.
Yeah.
One's name was Claudia and the other's name I forget.
Idalini.
Yes. 2 sisters. Now, the issue, what is interesting is that the land grabbers suddenly, they spotted that particular property and there was nobody guarding it. They immediately figured out who the owners were.
Yeah.
They they got both the property papers and they converted Claudia into a man, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they got that man to marry his own sister on paper. So the 2 sisters became husband-wife on paper.
Yeah.
After becoming husband-wife, they gave a power of attorney to the principal quote-unquote land grabber, saying that we cannot manage our property and our affairs, so this person is our authorized attorney.
Yeah.
So the power of attorney was given to this guy Satelkar, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Sandesh Satelkar.
Yeah. So Sandesh Satelkar got the property. After getting the property, Sandesh Satelkar immediately sold it to his sister-in-law called Riya Satelkar. Yes. And so on. And this is exactly what happened. So the property moves from the family of these 2 sisters to one Riya Satelkar. And what is happening in that particular property in Verla, okay, is this. The property is in Verla.
Yeah.
So the issue is now there is a big bungalow that has come up. There are 10 rooms in that bungalow. The property is being used commercially. And now, okay, what is interesting is Claudia's son, or the other person's son, one of the 2 sisters' son, he was the original complainant of the case, filed a complaint in 2008, the son of one of the sisters. That complaint from 2008 to 2014 was gathering dust at the Mapsa police station.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing happened. In 2014, this person died. The son died. After that, with his death, the case got completely buried. Now the granddaughter of the other sister is now trying to pursue it, but she's running from pillar to post and has no idea where to go. Then when we checked with the Mapsa police yesterday, they are saying, we have moved all the cases to the SIT. Now this has become a common excuse that whatever cases you go to the storeroom, pick up all the dust-laden files of old cases for which you've done nothing, and you dump it to the SIT.
Yeah.
And you wash your hands off. This is exactly what's been happening.
Okay. And we end this week on a very positive note. A story which is the anchor for page 1 on 19th of July. You have the heading Ecology Wins. Nauxi Marina project signed off as MPA doesn't renew the lease with the company.
Correct. See, in 2008, there was the port limits were redefined, okay, which kind of allowed projects like the marinas to come in. In 2010, the MPT issued tenders inviting people to bid for marinas there. As soon as they did that, there was a very big public outcry. And people said that for these kind of projects, you have to have the environment impact assessment done, because you will be aware of this, that entire Nauxi Marina is the home of the window pane oyster.
Yeah.
and they are very, very sensitive. Any kind of construction completely changes the tide pattern, and when the tide pattern completely changes, the breeding ground of the oysters and the free movement gets completely affected. So there was a big public outcry. Then the pandemic happened. I mean, after 2008, nothing happened for another 5 to 10 years. Public hearings were not done properly. The project dragged on, and there was a lot of back and forth going on, but ultimately it did not happen. Then I think the MPT signed a lease with the construction company, and that lease was on. The lease expired. I think 10-year lease expired. I think in 2021 end sometime. Okay, so when that lease expired, I think the exact date of the lease. 2010. No, lease didn't expire in 2010. Lease expired much later. Okay, we'll check that. We'll get into the dates. Anyway, the lease have expired. Now the issue is with the expired lease. With the expired lease, you cannot obviously do a project. So when the MPT or the MPA now, Murugappa Ports Authority, have now admitted that the lease is no longer there. And if the lease is no longer there, you cannot have a project there. So for the time being, this project will not happen, which is a big relief to people, which is a good news. But you never know. It might come back in some other avatar.
So that is all we have for you this week in this edition of The Week That Was. I thank my guest, Mr. Sujay Gupta, for all the background to the stories, the insights and analysis. We hope to see you next week again on this show. Keep watching Herald TV.